Hello everybody, welcome back to Pillars of Eternity. So, we left off here in Gilded Wood, is that the name of this place? Gilded Vale. And it looks like there's a person named Aloth over here, Aloth. And we got Ader right here. Let's go talk to Ader again. Man smells broadly, welcome to our lovely village. Okay, so we got all of our discussion out with him, I suppose. So, Aloth?
I shall.
I guess let's take a little time to look around the village a bit. It looks like there's some kind of a dungeon or something over here. Temple of Aethus is the place we just discovered. Right here. Is there any thing we can look at? There's something we can look at. Beneath the vines are crude carvings of a sun rising over 3 stars. That is the symbol of Aethus. Theophalion. As you near, you hear a vibrant history contained in the essence of this man's soul. Voices from its past seem to call out to you. We must reach out for the soul. You see a pennant waving tall and sluggish in the wind, a rising sun embroidered on the banner, the vanguard of a small troop of paladins. The atmosphere is buoyant and restrained, and their armor has not yet been tarnished by the elements. This expedition is fresh, young, filled with zest and zeal. At their head stands a commander, awkward in full armor but determined in step. Despite the excitement of his fellows, he does not smile. There's a twist to his mouth, his countenance grim. He throws up a hand, halting his troop. Silence falls among them, revealing a dark thunder, deep and low. He orders them to ready weapons and spread out. Eyes dart from horizon to horizon, necks twisting to see the source of the sound. In the distance, dust and lightning rise from the ground as Stygian clouds race towards them overhead. The soldiers stand, only the staccato movement of their breath betraying their nerves. The commander closes his eyes, calling a blessing down on his troop. Invigorated, invincible, they wait as the enemy draws closer, poised to attack. Wow. It's pretty intense memory. Oh, alright. So that's all we get from him. Alright, so that's a paladin who is apparently involved in some kind of nightmarish battle against demonic fiends. We can't do anything more with him now. There's a place up there. Let's just kind of look around a little bit. Well, you know what? We've been here. Let's go up here and then around this way and we'll kind of check out the town. Who is this? Anybody? Nah, just a villager. Peasant. And this is a peasant. So let us continue. Search this box and we will steal the ale. Why not? And in we go. New location discovered. Ingrids Home. With Naughton and Ingrod. And various searchables. Plus something we can look at. This bottle of Son Red is half empty. That's like your point of view, man. This man and woman appear to have been in deep conversation, working at closing 2 bulging satchels. They move to embrace until the woman notices your approach and pauses, her smile faltering a little. Yeah, because I broke into their house and just kind of walked in.
Hello.
Yeah, okay. Can we help you? She looks to her companion, brows furrowing with confusion. Do you know this man, Naughton? Naughton shakes his head. I don't believe so. Was there something you wanted, stranger? You two seem to be in a hurry. Yes, I imagine so, Ingrod laughs. We're packing for a trip, actually. I've been meaning to visit Defiance Bay, and... She looks at Naughton. Well, in truth, I think I've had my fill of this town. Naughton reaches to take her hand. It's time for some new scenery. Is there anything you can tell me about Gilded Vale? Ingrod smiles wryly. Only that you'll want to be moving on as soon as you can. You'll have seen the tree, I imagine, but the rot grows deeper. If you were looking for work, I'd say you have a better chance of it elsewhere. We're heading for Defiance Bay ourselves. Okay, people leaving the town, that probably is a smart idea. We may as well loot the place while we're here, I guess. What do they got? Some silver. Nobody seems to care that I'm taking it. A book, The Deerwood, Part 2, Broken Stone War. As much as I would like to read that, I'm going to do that on my own time, I think. We do enough, I think, reading of the stuff that comes up as we're going along here to stop and start reading books. But we will read that. Or I will read that. We'll see. If you guys want me to read the books, let me know. Those of you who are watching the series. What is this? Gold Rot Chew. So what's like chewing tobacco? Oh, and there's a plant. And things we can look at, but we'll go there after this place. Gilded Vale Home. So just what, villagers? Nope. Kara Aloth. Edlin Preostum. Let's talk to this one first. Wow. Are we going to keep getting this? As you near, you feel a vibrant history containing the essence of this woman's soul. Reach out for the soul. You see a crowded marketplace, vendor stalls lining the road, their proprietors' voices calling out to passers-by to come sample their wares. This woman wanders through the throngs, strolling hand in hand with another woman. They peruse the vendor's goods, tarrying at a book merchant with a number of old and beautiful tomes, chatting with one another about what they see. One will pick up a book and show it to the other, who will take it, comment on it, and place it back on its shelf. Then the first will snatch up the book again and quickly pay the merchant before the other can snatch it back. They walk away from the market weighed down by packs filled with books, still hand in hand, standing close, comfortable and familiar with each other. As they pass down a deserted street, an object suddenly hits this woman in the chest and bounces off, rolls away towards one of the buildings. The women stop and look at the object, an apple, and then back up at the person who threw it. There's nothing special about him aside from the angry look on his face and the two other apples he holds. Before either woman can move, the man draws back and throws another one at them, this time hitting the second woman in the forehead. He yells at them, something derisive and hateful, something about a legacy and about responsibilities. The woman raises her hand to her head and wipes the juice and bits of fruit from her face and stares the man down defiantly. The first woman squeezes her hand and puts the other on her companion's shoulder, attempting to calm her down. The woman pulls a book from her pack and holds it before her, muttering under her breath. She pulls her hand free and waves it above the book, an aura forming around her. The first woman is still trying to calm her down, but all she says goes unheard. The man, uncaring at the events happening in front of him, draws back and throws the last apple. It arcs through the air towards them. The second woman brings up her hand and points at the apple. A glowing orb of energy flies from her hand and strikes the apple, causing it to explode, raining bits of apple down on the road and buildings around them. The man's face changes, anger joined by fear, looking like he's trying to decide if running or attacking is the better course of action. The second woman has started chanting again, her hand glowing, her eyes narrowing. The woman steps in front of her, placing herself between her love and the attacker. She touches her face, gently stroking it while whispering calming words. A kiss. The woman's countenance changes. She calms, her eyes softening, her lips regaining the lost smile. The first woman smiles again as well and kisses the other. "Wizard scum," the man behind them says, and the two women turn to face him, staring him down defiantly. They join hands and begin walking again, moving past him without so much as a sideways glance. Alright. Fair enough. With the Deerwood Part 3. Oh, we've been caught stealing. Well... cheese. Alright. Do I have an option to surrender? No, I'm gonna run. I don't want to hurt anybody.
You cannot venture forth while in combat.
Uh-oh. I'm totally gonna get killed here, I think. When a party member reduces 0 endurance, they are knocked out. This means they are out of the fight, but as long as the side is victorious, they will regain their endurance. Keep an eye on the bar to the left. Well, I think I'm gonna go down. Yeah. Where did we autosave? Was it when we entered the house? Because if so, yeah, it was. Okay, let's quickly do this again. Reach out for the soul. So we can be caught stealing. Good to know. I just wanted to talk to you, lady. This one too. Reach out for the soul. You see a key turn gently steady and hear a ghostly click as the door swings inward. Two figures slip in, locking the door behind them and begin their prowl. Their hunt is efficient. It takes little time to acquire a sizable collection of documents in oddly shaped velvet pouches. Quick hands fill pockets, rucksacks, bags. The door opens downstairs and everything freezes. Footsteps, a tired giggle. The thieves are all eye whites and short breath as they empty their pockets of all but the necessities. Anything noisy hurriedly replaced. Silence from downstairs. Then tentative steps up the staircase. A voice calls out. One thief creeps forward, the other gesticulating wildly for him to return. He continues forward, crouching by the banister. He sees a gaudy shoe and shoves. The woman falls with a cut-off scream, rolling lifelessly to the floor below. Swearing, the second thief grabs her brother and they make their escape, collecting whatever the value they can on the way out. I'm like the dude from Unbreakable, is what it seems like here. We can see everybody. Okay, rats scurry behind the sacks. Fine. So I guess... let's, quick save. Is that F5? Totally is. Can we get... I was looking at your thing. Grain, sugar, beer. I don't need any of that, but I do want that book. If I talk to you from this side... nah, she's not going to turn around. Well, sometime we'll get that book. I guess we could read it in place. But, you know, let's just continue on. We may as well see what else is going on. Hey, a ghost. What? That goes back to the outside map. Despite the rains, the stalks feel as dry and stiff as a locust husk. Alright, maybe it's that ghost. Ooh, plant. And then people. Doran Chamberlain. And Rudolfir Necator. What's up? Okay, more soul stuff. Large crowd gathered in the middle of a courtyard. This man stands in the midst of them, a cloak pulled over his head, holding it closed around his neck. The crowd is congregated around a platform, and they all watch, transfixed, as a man is led to the platform, flanked by 2 city guardsmen. The man is shackled hand and foot, but carries himself as a nobleman, not deigning to even glance at the crowd. The cloaked man pulls his cover closer around his face and turns to leave, hunching over to avoid being seen. A crier in the platform unrolls the parchment and begins to read, but the man pays no attention, intent on getting away from the courtyard. The crier's voice grows louder and more intense as he reads, and the voice from the crowd start to punctuate his sentences. The jeers and shouts grow more frequent, and with each one the cloaked man flinches and his shoulders droop. He breaks from the crowd, coming to the edge of the courtyard as the crier reaches the end of his proclamation. The crowd grows silent again, save for the occasional shout. The man turns back to look at the platform, seeing his father kneeling before the block, neck exposed. The executioner moves into position, lifting his axe to strike. The man turns suddenly, unable to watch. There's a wet thunk, and the crowd breaks into cheers and applause. He leans against the wall, regaining his composure, then straightens up. With obvious resolve, he strides off, away from the crowd and his legacy. Alright, so this guy was the son of a nobleman who was executed. This guy, you see a pair of immaculately polished leather boots and an impeccably maintained goatee, their owner a slightly hook-nosed man with a wicked grin and narrow eyes. He bobs his feathered hat at a nearby merchant as he ambles by, a piece of parchment held tight in his fist, ink staining his fair fingers. He seems to know most of the merchants in the market, stooping to engage some, nodding at others, and even bartering for minor goods with a select few, always smiling, laughing, and exchanging jibes. He approaches a heavy-set Amawa, smile plastered stiff across his face, and jokes about the weather. She jokes back, subtly palming him several gold coins. When he walks away with the paper in his hand, is gone, and the smile on his face more genuine. He tips his cap at her, winking, and trundles off with a new spring in his step. Okay, so he sold something to somebody. Good information to know, I suppose. Where have we not been? We haven't been up here, so let's head up there. Take a look what's going on up in this part. Ooh, something of interest. We know there's more grain in there, Trumbull. We won't settle for scraps while you grow fat on our crops. A muffled shout emerges from inside the mill. The first of you drunkards comes through that door gets shot between the eyes. Gods hear me, Swainer. I'll put you down like a dog. Come away for now, lads, but we'll be back, Trumbull. And we'll have fair prices, or by the flame we'll have a reckoning. New task, against the grain. Investigate the feud. Okay, so this is the miller. He is possibly hoarding the produce of the farmers. We're gonna go get us some mushrooms first. Settler's Arrow. That appears to be everything around here. Let's go in. Quest is a quest. An elven man stands before you, his relatively stocky build suggesting a life of labor. His face is pale and drawn, and his eyes wide. Behind him, a younger man and woman exchange worried glances. The miller raises the club as you enter. It shakes violently in his grip. Get back if you value your life. Well, we got the resolve to put that. So put that down before you get hurt yourself. Trumbull only raises the club higher. I mean it. I won't have Swainer and his lackeys threatening me in my own mill. My name is Taximus. I've only just arrived in Gilded Vale. Shakes his head. You picked a bad time to come visiting. Gilded Vale's had all its shine scraped off. Just a big dung heap now, and Swainer thinks he's king of it. They're all of them mad. Who's Swainer? The dwarf. The one standing out there, spreading lies among the villagers. Bastard's been here for decades, and he hasn't gotten any kinder with time. Miller hesitates, then lowers the club a fraction. Who are you? Is Swainer roping foreigners into his little crusade now? I thought you could use some help. Those people always seem pretty angry. Yeah, we'll go with that one. Really? Trumbull sighs relief. Highly as tits, could I use a friendly face? I take it you heard some part of what that crowd's asking for. Grain, as if I've got it all tucked away somewhere. Swainer's been egging that lot on for days now. They've been keeping clear so far, but if things keep on like they are, I don't know how much longer we've got before things get messy. Please, if you're not here on his behalf, maybe you could speak to Swainer. He won't listen to me anymore. Just explain that we're all getting smaller rations now. We're all making sacrifices. I'll see what I can do. I had some other questions. What was that ruckus? Where to begin? Swainer's whipped him up into a froth, going on about grain stores. Claims I've hidden most of it. All I do with the grain is sell it. I can't create it out of thin air, and I can't hand it out for free. I pay the farmers for the crops they bring in, and I sell what comes out of the mill. Most of it goes to the Black Hound on the west side of town for ale, and Swainer and his lot sure don't mind that part. You take a look at the fields on the way into town. The crop's been blighted, and most of what I'm getting from the farmers... Trouble gestures to the sacks and containers. It's gone off, rotted through. I can't pay top prices for blighted wheat, and I've barely got enough good grain to go around. Swainer is howling after things he has no right to. Maybe I'll go have a talk. Seems like a pretty clean story for a messy situation. If you don't want those people in there with torches, maybe you ought to stop lying to me. Is he lying? I mean, he sounds like he's telling a reasonable story, but... Trouble blinks, taken aback. I'm not... Look, it's no lie. The stores really are low. And with so little grain going around, I have to raise the prices for some people. There are folks in this town that deserve far better than Swainer and his lot. People who have done more for Gilded Vale. Ooh, people like the magistrate? I can't do anything about that, Trumbull says, his voice quiet. That's just how it works. Maybe things are different elsewhere. Here, Braedrick's men, they keep the village safe. So they eat well. Maybe should we go have it? Or Swainer's people are farmers, they gathered that grain for you. They gathered... Let's try... I don't really want to be a crusader for the thug. But this guy is doing some double dealing. But he kind of has a point, doesn't he? I mean... Isn't that how it always works? That the guards are going to get better rations than the plebes? But Swainer's people are farmers. They gathered that grain for you. They sure didn't mind losing that grain when it was going into the drinks in the inn. They didn't make like kind neighbors when they insult my son, go stumbling drunk through my own crops. You think they're the only ones that need to eat? Now the crops are sick. and the wind's too weak to get the windmill turning. Our village's children are born as empty shells. That's not my doing. This place is cursed. And Swainer and the others haven't done a thing to help the rest of us through the lean season. Maybe I should go have it. What do you mean? Swainer, the rest, they've always been troublemakers. Loud, drunk fools. That woman with him, her soul traces back to Dryden. That wretched brigand, and it shows. We have good people in this town. People still hang on to what's left of it. They deserve a little more. That's all I'm saying. Maybe I ought to go have a talk with Swainer. The miller sags, all but sags with relief. I'd be grateful if you did. He won't listen to me anymore, but maybe you'll have better luck. Tell him we're all having a hard time of it, and we'll all have to make some sacrifices. We'll be in your debt for it, if you can convince him. Okay. We will go talk to Swainer. Hopefully without incident. Is there anything of interest in here? Let's go take a look at this. He's got grain. Big surprise. Rancid stench rises from this grain. It's mushy and mottled with green. Ugh. So we'll go talk to Swainer. Sure, why not? I mean, it's not like we have to side with one or the other at this point anyway. But I mean, the guy kind of has a point, don't you think? I'm not one for, you know, a lot of elitism, but maybe Swainer and his bunch are, you know, drunken thugs, and maybe there are people who are actually doing something for the village. Maybe they deserve a bit more. We don't know. Where would Swainer be? Are they going to let us know? Oh, that's us. I don't know where Swainer could be. We can't go into this house. There's a cow there. Sounds like a villager walking around. This is a shop of some kind, so let's go look at that. This is the Black Hammer's Smithery. We're going to want to go there. But let's not go there yet. Let's see if we can find this Swainer guy around somewheres. Ronan, Tyronian, and Hugo. Let's do it. You see a room, bright, warm, and covered in greenery. There isn't a spot in the entire place that doesn't have some kind of plant growing in it. Small, germinating seeds in a corner here, large, sprawling vines climbing the walls there. Although most of the plants are actually in some kind of container, there are a few that have grown from the dirt floor itself. These are just as lovingly cared for as anything else in the room. This man wanders through the plants, smiling at each and every one, an old pipe clenched between his teeth. Stopping next to one, he touches a leaf, lifting it up to look at the underside, then gently rubs it between his fingers. He takes a small handful of the soil, grows it, and crushes it with his fingers. Satisfied, he drops the soil back into the pot and continues on to the next plant. He hums a low, cheery tune as he moves among the plants, occasionally stopping to sing a few words of something to one of them. Finally, he reaches the door, having visited every plant in the room. He turns back to look at them, looks of serene pleasure on his face. Then he turns back and is gone. Alright, so he used to be an herbalist of some kind. Whereas this guy, you see a group of people standing around a wagon, transfixed on a sword as it swings in a large, graceful arc. This man holds the sword, passing it from hand to hand with a relaxed ease, letting the blade dance in front of his audience. He tosses it into the air, spins, then puts his arm behind his back to catch it. The crowd claps excitedly, and a couple of them gasp, certain they were about to see a tragedy. That's a guy we might want to get to know better. Ronan Tyronian. Master swordsman of some kind, or at least a juggler. Somebody with some skills with blades. Villager. Swainer, where would you be? That's that church thing. That's a plant. That's back to the map. The overworld map. This angry townsman. There we go. You see 4 people gathered by the door to the inn. Their raised voices and chopping gestures suggest an argument reaching its climax. The first figure raises his hands for calm. His face is partially obscured by a hood, but his height and stature suggest an elf.
I meant no offense. Let's put this matter to rest over a round, shall we? My treat.
Hoping to soothe our pride with a few Adira coppers, eh? We don't need your coin.
Let's get our nose in this. What's going on? One of the other men points at the hooded elf. His eyes are red from drink, but his gaze is focused. Mocking us even while he shelters in our village. Just goes to show you what these fancies Ader manners are worth. We don't take to that kind of treatment. Not from foreigners, especially not from Adirans.
Go on. Say it again.
The voice acting in this is a little bit scattershot. Why was the last line not voice acted anyway?
Why, you're itching for the kindling touch of your sister, you
What?
cocksmither!
Now he's Scottish?
I'll cut that barrel-licking tongue out of your head.
This is a misunderstanding. I didn't say whatever it is you think I said. We've nigh quarrel.
That's where you're wrong.
This is unnecessary. Wouldn't you rather be inside drinking than out here arguing? We don't want your charity either, foreigner. Oh. They squint at you with red blurry eyes. It sounds suspiciously like you're defending him. And now it's on. So let's knock this guy down. What do I want? No. No. There you go. And knock down on him. There we go. Let's go over the one that's attacking us. Holy shit! Is everybody dead? As the last attacker falls, the elf turns to you, the tension almost gone from his smooth face.
Not quite how I hoped to get to know the neighbors. Thank you for your timely assistance with that. Situation.
I'm glad I could help.
Courtesy is a rare pleasure in these parts. Though your accent suggests that you are no more local than
He straightens his hood, and you note the remains of fraying embroidery on his gloves. His boots are caked with the dirt of many months' travel, but the leatherwork beneath it is sturdy and fine.
Well, I suppose introductions are in order after that little fiasco. Aloth Corvus.
Tell me about yourself.
Service. Well, I'm a wizard by training, and an adventurer by necessity. I was born in the Seathwood, part of the mainland of the Adir Empire, and both of my parents served the nobility, which afforded me an education for which I am grateful. However, there were no open positions in those houses, and so I decided to seek new means in a new land. And how exactly did
I was
you
traveling
come
with a
to be
caravan, but we were separated near some ruins.
in Gwithan ruins? Oh, those can be dangerous places during the best of times, which these are not. And half the locals would arrest you for trespassing, and the rest would kill you outright. I'm curious, what exactly did you find there? And you survived? I've heard such a thing was impossible. But it seems you either have a knack for time.
So what are you doing in Gilded Vale?
An excellent question. I came looking for fresh air and cheap land. Instead, the magistrate gave me directions to the inn and a story about the local lord's expectant wife. But
yeah, that's what we got told too.
Tale.
I'm looking for an expert on souls.
Indeed. The local lord has searched far and wide for similar specialists. He has rid himself of them almost as desperately.
I expect that such expertise would be best sought elsewhere. Just how did you manage to cross those three drunks?
I'm afraid that was a matter of misunderstandings and mistranslations. It doesn't help that people in these parts remember their war with Adir like it was yesterday.
You did tell that one to go fuck his sister. Ah, that. He clears his throat and adjusts his sleeves. As I tried to tell them, they misheard me. Happens all too easily after a few pints, and the accent doesn't help. I heard the same thing. I speak more clearly next time. My apologies. You don't look like a settler.
Begging your pardon, but neither do you. Yet, circumstances can find a
I should get going.
of places. As should I, given recent events. It's just as well. I've had enough of the watered wine and lumpy beds at the inn. They say even the owner tired of the place. Just up and left one day. It explains quite a lot about the upkeep. Perhaps I could join you. I could use a change of scenery and...
Sure, why not?
It's better to travel in numbers. Excellent.
Wonderful.
I shall
We
follow.
have somebody to help us and a bunch of stuff we can sell later, plus some money. And I think maybe this is a good time to put this episode to an end. Next time we will continue our look for Swainer was the guy's name. We need to find him. I'm going to bet he's in this inn. So I will see you then. Take care.